Hi, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Okay, yes, I'm sitting up again. I did a couple this morning when it was very early, and now I'm back. So let's start things off. Current blood sugar is at 7.3. And halfway through the calibration, I have gone through not having too much bolus for the amount of sugar I have, but I'm still kind of happy. We'll see. Now I'm started kind of an incline, and we'll see where we go from here. Okay, so I'm still 98% time in range, TIR, 0% above 98% in range, 2% below 3.9 for an average sugar of 6.8 millimoles per liter. All pretty good. Today, I want to discuss control. And we've discussed control a number of times on these videos. But I'm going to discuss more of control from how do you gain, like what steps do you need to gain control. But again, I'm not a physician, so anything said should be under the advisement of a doctor before you start any treatment. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. In my videos, I've done a number of talks about control and when you should be in control, when can you let it lax, that sort of thing. But I never sort of have ever discussed ways to make sure you get into control. And control is just a blanket term that's saying you're not running super high blood sugars. You're not running super low blood sugars. The whole thing of control kind of gives you the thought that, oh, you have to be perfect. Well, we know you're not going to be perfect. And as such, I don't necessarily think anyone can be the perfect diabetic all the time. You'll have good days, you'll have bad days. We just discussed this, just went through it. So, how do I attack being in control? Well, first of all, I test. Test is the only way to know whether what you're doing is working. Even with a pump, I still test to make sure that my pump is doing what it's supposed to. Now, type 1 diabetics have to test at least 4 times a day. If you're feeling low or you want to see where you're at, you could do it more times. But blood sugar levels is where we want to be. You want to keep your blood sugars between 3 and 10. When I was diagnosed back in October of 1977, so it's 47 years, it was pretty well relayed to me that, oh, you have to be perfect. Nothing will work better than you having to be perfectly in control. It doesn't work that way. There's so much going on all the time. And before time and range and before hemoglobin A1C, it was hard to tell. You could do urine tests, which we all were supposed to be doing, 4 times a day. You ended up still peeing as much as you did when you were super high, because you would have to go to the washroom, empty your bladder, and then get a new sample about 20 to 30 minutes later, and then test that. Come on, that doesn't really work in real life. In fact, why should anyone have to? Now, when you're in the middle of a class, you can do a blood test and see where your amounts are. You also have new systems that can give you an idea of what your blood sugar is and where it needs to go. All this is great, but we lived and we went by what we had to. I always got the feeling every time I went to the doctor for my biannual checkup that we were always kind of looking and, well, why aren't you perfect? What are you not following? You were always seemed to be second guessed. So blood tests. I would really have to say you have to review how to count carbs. We have blood sugars. A contributory reason for higher blood sugars is the amount of carbs and inappropriate counting of carbs. So you have to learn how to count carbs if you don't know. If you do know, you need to review it. I would say you really have to watch your measurements so that when it says for 130 grams or something, that you have a scale and you can measure it, and you kind of readjust your eyes to how much a teaspoon is, how much a tablespoon is, how much a cup is. Because years ago, when we all had to be so precise on exactly what we ate, I didn't necessarily be that tight controlled, and it really affected me and probably affected on where I am today. But so we have blood, we have what you eat, medication. Don't be playing around with your insulin. I did a group of videos called Control Day 2024. In there, I did a number of chats on how to get to control, but not how to maintain it. So you need to go see your doctor was the first thing I suggested to make sure that you were healthy enough. Second reason why you want to go to the doctor is to get a level of medication that soothe you. So, keeping things like that works well. You can also maybe ask your doctor, how can I work to come up with a better way of controlling through medication? One might be a suitable guide to how to control your blood sugar. I could give you this guide, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to give you this guide. Speak to your doctor. I know the program I was originally told. Currently, my blood sugars are so way out there that I rarely get 3 days with the same amount of blood sugars. So it's hard for me to change the amount of insulin I take. You want to make sure you're doing your blood and you're doing your breakfast and you're doing your medications, all the no, not all at the same time, but you do your blood test at the same time for, I don't know, a couple of weeks at least. You do your meals at the same time. You do your medication at the same time, just so that they can take any variables out, especially if you're really having troubles gaining control with your insulin. They're really quite easy. But those are the three major things. You can start exercising, you can get up, and you can go for a walk after meals. Any sort of exercise. Bowling can be a good exercise. Get you up, get you moving. So I think that's more of the important things first and foremost. You need to pretty well try to get in control and stay in control for about a month. Now, I'm kind of opening my maybe you just have to get in control and then you're fine. No. What I'm saying is, after a month, you can pretty well start forming habits and you can get up, you can do things. You can make sure you get your breakfast in before you go to work. You can make sure you've taken your insulin, done your blood work. Because once you form a habit, you're not going to be able to run out of the door and go quickly and try to get to work. It doesn't work that way. And I never really lived that far from work, so I didn't really have an excuse, even though a lot of times it seemed that way. So, you want to first start testing blood about 3 to 4 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and bed. Now, if you're not on an insulin pump, your doctor may suggest that you, a couple of nights a week or whatever, wake up at 4 a.m., do a blood test, and go back to sleep, just to make sure that you're not dropping in the middle of the night. I did that for years, and a lot of times I'd hit the alarm and go right back to sleep. There really wasn't a good reason why, but I did it. So, testing at least 4 times a day. If your doctor orders more, well, add more. That's all. Doesn't say if the doctor adds you that fifth blood sugar in a 24-hour period, that, oh, I have to drop one of the other ones. No, that's not what they're trying to say. Eating a certain amount of carbs, keeping your carbs within that certain amount is going to be the best bet for yourself. Get some exercise, get up, get moving. Right now I'm at a space in my life where I can't really walk on my own. I started getting up again, getting moving, feeling better about myself. So, watch also what you're eating. Whole grains. Try to cut down on the processed sugar. That's going to help your sugars. Keep accurate records, whether it's you writing it down on a piece of paper or, just had to modify how I was sitting, or it's other means that you can watch exactly what you're eating. And with that, it's a good start to controlling your blood sugars. It's not going to solve everything overnight, but that's the start to go. Okay, have a great day. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.